Welcome to the Performance Enhancing Podcast. It's like steroids for your brain. A podcast for people that want the best info, but just don't have the time. Get your podcast fix with the Cliff Notes versions of your favorite podcasts. No fluff, just the actionable golden nuggets. Having this much knowledge at your fingertips should be downright illegal. So get ready for another dose of Performance Enhancing Podcast with Satori Prime. Here's your host, Ilan Ferdman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Performance Enhancing Podcast with your host, Ilan Ferdman. If you haven't already, just head over to satoriprime.com and you can follow us there. I'm super excited to be with you guys today, and our guest is incredible. When you hear the story, it's going to blow your mind. So I'll give you just a snippet and then I'll explain who he is. Imagine setting up a goal. Well, let me back up. Imagine having an amazing idea, actually knowing how to launch that idea, and then setting up a goal of, having people fund you $20,000 and then waking up one day and having $850,000 at your disposal to launch your product. That is what Christian Smith has done. So let me tell you a little bit about Christian Smith, and then we'll get right into the interview. Christian Smith is the co-founder of TrakR. It's basically a simple app that tracks your keys, wallet, anything else like your smartphone, bikes, things like that. And the idea actually began real simply. His friend lost his smartphone and, he wanted to solve that problem because he knew that a lot of people do that. So that's how it started. But since 2009, TrakR grew from, this garage-based idea into mass distribution, working with people like Verizon, Wireless, Orange Telecom, and other retailers worldwide. But the latest product, and what we'll probably be talking a lot about today, is TrakR Bravo. And that's the product I told you that they've had crowdfunding already at $850,000 on Indiegogo. And the campaign isn't even over. That's the best part. The campaign ends August 8th. So imagine $20,000 goal, $850,000 achievement, and plus to go. Also, this is Christian's fourth crowdfunding project. So we're going to talk a lot about how he launches these ideas, why crowdfunding, all of that kind of stuff. So if you ever had an idea and wanted to know how to launch it, this is going to be the podcast for you. And then personally, Christian lives in Santa Barbara, California, which is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And when he's not running TrakR, you can find him surfing, swimming, diving. And then Christian, we're going to talk about this line because I absolutely love it. But your life goal is to defy age, time, and gravity. Sick. Christian, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Ilan. It's good to be here. Looking forward to sharing a little bit about what we learned and telling people about this little guy.
Yeah.
TrakR Bravo.
So if you guys are not watching this on YouTube, then you can. We're actually doing this live, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of interaction. But for those listening, you can always check out the YouTube video as well. So Christian, first of all, congratulations, I guess, is in order. Smashing a goal that big is always pretty amazing. I want to start this interview at the beginning. We kind of gave people an idea of what you've been up to so far, right? But here's kind of where I want to start. I've had great ideas, okay? I think they've been great ideas. My friends have had great ideas. And then you see kind of like 3 years down the road, like one of the things I always bitch about, I didn't tell you this, but this is pretty funny. I was in college and we had to pitch ideas, and I pitched the idea of high-end movie theaters, which everyone has right now, where like you can sit and eat and all that kind of stuff. And then 3 years ago, I just see them popping everywhere, and I'm like, God damn it. That's the $1 million idea. So tons of people have ideas, but no one ever does anything with them, right? Because you're like, oh, it's going to take too much work, or it's too stupid. How do I test it? So first things first, 2009 rolls around, everyone's losing shit. Why do you decide that I'm going to actually do something about it?
Yeah, I think the real motivating factor for me and my co-founder to starting Phone Halo was it was a personal problem. Our friends had lost their keys, but we had also lost wallets. I'd misplaced my cell phone countless times. My co-founder actually almost lost his car to the Pacific Ocean. He goes out for a surf, right? He parks on the beach right below the high tide line. And then he realizes he can't find his keys. They fell out of his pocket. They're somewhere in the sand. Fortunately, some guy with a metal detector is walking down the beach. My co-founder, Chris, goes over to him and gives him $100. And he says, if you can find my keys, I'll give you $100 right now. Wow. Here's the cash. And this guy starts searching. Sure enough, before, about an hour before that, the tide grabs his car, swallows it. He was able to find the keys with the metal detector.
That's amazing. Dude, I almost lost my car in the Pacific Ocean. Amazing. Okay,
I'm gonna have to use that for a blog post. That's
yeah, you could steal it. Not so that's an idea. Okay, you're all struggling with this, but everyone's struggling with this. Like, why do you believe that you can actually do something about this?
Sure. So we, in the dining commons, when we first came up with this idea, a friend had walked in to where we were going to school at UC Santa Barbara, and he said, "Guys, sorry I'm late. I lost my keys." And we were brainstorming business plan ideas at the time, and we realized, well, you can't lose something if you tie it to yourself. So why don't we wirelessly tie all of these objects together? And that was kind of the aha moment.
Wow.
And so we started, this is back in 2008. So we started, playing with Windows mobile applications and tying Bluetooth headsets to them.
Wow.
So we demonstrated a proof of concept pretty quickly. But the market just didn't understand it for, another year. People didn't understand that your phone can actually run a program. And, a year after that, the App Store launched, and then everyone else started to really get it.
Mm-hmm. Was there anyone in that market competing with you at that time, or when you guys did research, there was nothing else like that out there?
When we launched, and, within a month of us coming out, 2 other competitors have launched. One has since gone out of business, and the other has, I don't know what they're doing, but it doesn't seem like they've kind of grown with the market.
Okay, cool. So you get this idea, you're brainstorming. Is obviously perfect that happened at the time when you were brainstorming an idea. You start proving the concept. Then what? At that point, like that's where most people, like that's where I stop, right? I've had brainstorming sessions, come up with great ideas. And now I have an idea now, basically, that I'm even looking at. And where I'm at is, okay, well, I'm not going to go spend, $50,000 or $100,000 or $250,000 to build the product, test the product, How did you guys get over that hurdle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my co-founder and I are both engineers. I'm a mechanical engineer, and he's an electrical engineer. So we basically just took all of the tasks that we needed to, build this project, and we split them up. So, we pretty effectively were able to solve the design problems. And my co-founder, he actually made, the original circuit board as a part of his senior project. So it was, we had a little bit of the know-how to create the solution. And then from there, it was we raised some money from friends and family. When we had that proof of concept, when we could demonstrate we can make this phone ring or we can find this big card. It was the original design was a wallet card. We can press a button and then beep that device, so you can find your wallet. And so that's where we raised about $70,000 from our friends and family, and then took that capital to go and really start testing the market. And we, came up with our original design, took it to the Consumer Electronics Trade Show. And at the Consumer Electronics Trade Show, there were tons of people who are distributors and buyers for retailers who were walking around. And we got discovered by a few retailers that were very interested. So that was kind of the market validation that we needed, as well as one of the Wall Street Journal reporters was walking around, and she found, our technology, and a few like the next evening we saw this Wall Street Journal piece on
wow
what we were doing, and so that was like the real market traction point that we needed.
Amazing.
And so after that, we were fortunate to have an early advisor in Santa Barbara tell us, if you're a part of a startup, sales will solve all your problems. And so we just focused 100% on selling. As soon as we had those first 200 units, we put them on Amazon, and then just got initial customer feedback and kept iterating based on what kind of customers were telling us that they wanted or they didn't like.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that, because you had mentioned that there's a process basically that you go through, and your learn, sell, build, measure process. So I want to come back to that after. But now, okay, so you launch it, you get proof of concept, you get validation. Crowdfunding, is that when this piece started coming into play? Like at this point?
What started coming into
play? Was the next step the crowdfunding piece?
So actually, in 2010, right when we had launched the product in January of 2010, crowdfunding didn't exist. So we took, all this physical inventory that we dumped capital into building, and we started selling it on Amazon. And so that was the initial way that we were able to make money. And then we licensed out our product to two publicly traded companies in the interim, and found that we were actually probably better off going and building our own brand for the product. And in 2013, in November, we built our own website to crowdfund the product.
So you did crowdfunding internally?
So we started out in November of 2013 with the wallet tracker. So it's a really thin little device that you could put in your wallet. There wasn't anything like it on the market. And so, we did some prototypes and, created the content that we needed to promote that idea, and then put it up on a landing page. And people were really interested. Some people started purchasing. And so then we relaunched the product on Indiegogo and raised about $70,000.
Interesting. So that was your first crowdfunding external experiment?
Yes. Yeah.
And you said there was 4 total, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So we did the wallet tracker, and then we also did the sticker tracker, which is a little quarter-size device. And I don't have the other one here, but we did a project called Glasses Tracker. Ended up, we got some good market feedback and decided to focus on other products. And then the 4th product is the TrakR Bravo.
Yeah, which is the really cool, innovative one. By the way, glasses is so funny. As soon as you said that, so first of all, Christian's wearing glasses, so I'm sure it hit close to home. But my wife, I got laser surgery, but my wife always, it's like, where did I put my glasses? Where did I put my glasses?
Yeah, it is a big problem. We just noticed that there wasn't as large of a market that we wanted to focus on.
Interesting. Okay, so before we go into like the crowdfunding and the successes and failures and all that kind of stuff, there might be people on this line that have no idea what crowdfunding is. Like it's just a word to them. So let's start kind of at the beginning, and then we'll build up. What is crowdfunding?
So crowdfunding is a way for people who are creating products or services to reach out to the general internet audience and to ask them to support their project. And then people will basically pledge or donate to that cause. And give that kind of creator, that person who's making things, the ability to go and pursue that project. And then if the project is successful, then the maker will then, send out the perk to the people who have backed that campaign and supported them.
Okay, so let's just play devil's advocate for a second. I kind of know how this works, but let's just play devil's advocate. So I come out and say I have some new water bottle that I want to launch. I want $50,000, and people only give me 25. Do I run with that money to Mexico?
Sure. So there are a few good things that crowdfunding platforms have put into place, and that's the ability for the person who's funding the project to decide that yes, they can deliver the project with an incomplete funding amount, or they can also choose to refund the money to the backers.
So it's actually I didn't know this. It's the choice of the producer of the product.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Now, what holds you guys liable to actually deliver the product to the donators?
Sure. So, in our case, we're a brand that's out there, and we've lowered the risk of producing this product pretty dramatically by getting working samples from our manufacturer. So we know it works. We know that it functions very similarly to our other devices. But at the end of the day, there isn't much like that the platform allows. I think that it's just individually. If you make a promise to people that you're going to give them a product, that you're liable for delivering that product.
Got it. So it's pretty much like an honor integrity system, basically.
Yes, and what's really great about this whole kind of the crowdfunding mentality is if someone is doing something that people think is impossible, then usually they'll comment or say something. So there was an example recently of a product that was removed from the platform, and everyone was refunded because the campaign was doing something that most scientists agreed that was technically impossible.
That's amazing. Someone's like, I'm going to
self-policing ecosystem.
I'm going to build a some teleportation device, and people are like, no, dude, can't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's nice that because you're involving a lot of people, there's also a lot of collective brain power that helps regulate. But it's a very I will say there is some risk, and I think that as people who are making things as creators, we need to be very respectful, because really crowdfunding is a way for consumers to decide what they want to see in the future. And that is very, very exciting to me, because we can create our world if we are choosing to say, if everyone chooses to give Elon Musk $5, what would he be able to do with that? If we choose to give $5 to a politician or a cause, a charity that we believe in, the effects are astronomical. So crowdfunding as a social trend, I think, is going to really influence the way that society is going to how people are supported and products are produced. More films and our musical artists are supported on Indiegogo. And if you think about it, it goes right around the record company and goes straight to that artist, or straight to that maker. So there's no middlemen, which is I think a really ideal scenario.
It's kind of like there's the like button on Facebook, but it's a like button with power, where you can almost, like you said, transfer some piece to that person, and you're not saying like, hey, I like that, keep going. It's like, I'm going to do something about it, and I'm going to make sure that thing, it's changed the game. And for those that don't know, crowdfunding is in every space imaginable. There is crowdfunding for real estate investments. There's crowdfunding for, creative ideas, musicians, art. It's really kind of permeating the culture. So whatever your passion is, I highly recommend just go out and do some research, because you're likely to find a way to actually fund projects and things that you're really passionate about. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting what's happening, how communities are connecting, libraries and just all types of really good social things are getting funded. And it's exciting to see that, people are, taking their wallets and voting on what they want to see. I think
it's really, that's what it is.
There are some predictions that by the year 20, I think it's about 2020, that there will be about $30 or $30 billion that are invested into crowdfunding projects annually. And that number is going to continue to grow.
Wow.
So it's exciting to see commerce move in that type of direction. And, for brands and people who make products, it's such a great way to connect with your customers. And not only, just connect with them on a customer level, but really turn them into a fan, and a fan that helps, decide, not only like what kind of products they get, but how, making something that's customized to that person so that they can really get excited about it.
Yeah. And the other, I love that you said that, because when someone provides that to you, right, they feel like they're now a part of the process. That makes them a fanatic of that thing, because they are now invested in that thing. So, I love that you said the mind share, because that's something that I just spoke to Nathan Latka about. And getting people to give you that mind share sometimes is worth way more than any amount of money. And when they're invested like that, they're naturally going to want to give you feedback and naturally want to give you like how to improve it and make it better, because they do feel like they're part of it. So you're almost building an ecosystem of like natural feedback to improve your own products. And then you have the fan base that's just going to keep growing. There's a great story, you probably heard it, about a band who left. They were with a music, whatever they're called. I'm blanking on the name right now. Yeah, music label. And they launched this album, and they ended up selling like nothing. It was like 1,000 units. Okay. And so the label drops them, and they go out, and they were like, look, we still love this. So they're going to go out, and they decided that they were going to do crowdfunding. And they ended up raising $1 million. And the $1 million came from whom? The 1,000 people that bought the record. Wow. So, yeah. So what was really cool in that story was, and this is something I teach our students all the time, like, you don't need 1 million people to love you. You can find 1,000 who are that fanatical about you, and you can have your $1 million. And I think crowdfunding is making that much more evident. Because like the 850,000 that you've raised actually hasn't come from that many people, right?
Yes. So, we definitely have an audience that's interested in us, and we've been able to grow that audience. But right now, I think we just crossed about 13,000 backers.
For 850K, I don't have a calculator in front of me, but that's a nice chunk of change from a small group of people.
Yeah, it's really powerful what a focused audience that's passionate about something can really do for a brand or for a product. Yeah,
brilliant. So, okay, let's talk now about the mechanics, because like you said, you had 4 projects. You told me one was not so good. And then 2 kind of built up, and then 1, obviously this one's like a runaway success. So let's start with the one that didn't go so well. What what didn't go so well about that one? And what were some lessons that you learned there?
Sure. So, when we were testing the product, we created, as small a device as we could, but people just didn't connect with the industrial design, right? It wasn't something that they could imagine putting on all of their glasses. And that was, the market feedback that we were really looking for with that Indiegogo campaign, was to see, can we, with everything that we have today, design something that people would be interested in putting on their glasses. Glasses, about, I think there's statistics for like eye care institutes that say, about half of glasses, either sunglasses or reading glasses, are lost every single year. And so we know that, there's a market for it. The technology and how people connect with that technology just wasn't there at that point.
Because it wasn't small enough?
Yeah, I think it was a perception issue.
Okay. And so that was the big failure on the first one?
With Glasses TrakR, that we just saw that, it wasn't as popular as the other products.
Okay.
And so it was a good test, right? It took us a month to put the campaign together, make the prototypes, and then promote the product. And then we knew, okay, we're not going to focus on glasses. Let's focus on keys and wallets, because people love those things.
Got it. So the main takeaway lesson from practice session number 1 was glass is not the thing, size matters, and then focus on things that like wallets and keys and stuff like that.
Yeah, because everyone has wallets and keys, and so it's a little bit where we just noticed that not everybody has glasses or has the problem of losing their sunglasses or reading glasses.
So you went like too niche-y, too fast.
It was definitely, we wanted to just see if there was even a market for it.
Interesting. Now, what about from the marketing perspective? I know like the Coolest, that thing that just went completely viral.
Yes.
I think what are they up to? They raised like 3 million or 4 million. What they?
Oh gosh, I think they were at 7 million.
Oh wow.
But what's fascinating about the Coolest is there was a previous campaign where they definitely didn't raise millions of dollars. They just, hit a few $1,000, and then he re-engineered his promotional strategy using most of the same content, and then took it back out with the right promotional strategy and did great.
Did you guys notice in your marketing itself, like the videos, the content, the website, the messaging, things like that you learned that would make it success or a failure?
We definitely learned, what our customers were actually interested in getting this product for. What are the areas that people need help with, and so we were able to kind of help people understand what the product did in a very simple way.
How did you learn? How did you get that feedback from them?
Lots of landing page testing.
Okay.
On our other products.
So just split testing on your end. Do you guys use surveys?
We love surveys.
Okay.
We've made tons of choices on the current TrakR Bravo with surveys. So it goes from as far as like okay, so you've got your base kind of TrakR Bravo that everyone likes. Well, what are the colors? Do you want blue? Do you want black? I mean, is there another color that people really, really like? And so we were able to find out what the most popular colors were, and then made a $5 upsell. So if you contribute an additional $5, you can choose what TrakR colors you get.
Got it. And did you learn that the upsell model produces more crowdfunding as you went through this process?
I mean, it's all on the campaign. So you can see, on the color upgrade, about 700 people have purchased the color upgrade.
Interesting.
And then we also added some laser engraving. So people can laser engrave all of their devices for, it's $10. And they can just, put their name, a different phone number, whatever they want on each device. And so we see that, that type of customization really gets people excited about, these trackers. It makes the TrakR Bravo, that person's, keys, and it really is theirs. No one can take it and use it for something else.
Interesting. Okay. So let's go a little broad and then we'll start going nitty gritty granular.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, in your opinion, in the, between the four, why do you think this campaign was so much more successful? Well, what were the results? So the first one was kind of like a no-go. The second one, what kind of results did you guys produce?
Let's see. So it went, Wallet Tracker we raised about $70,000 on that campaign. And that was the first product that we brought out.
Okay.
And then the second was the little sticker tracker.
Yeah.
We raised about $30,000 with that.
70K though was family, right? Friends and family?
70K was on Indiegogo for the Wallet Tracker device.
Okay.
That was November 2012.
Okay.
And then in summer of 2013, we did the sticker tracker.
Got it.
$350,000.
Wow.
And then we tried the glasses tracker that December. And that didn't, that was the product that we talked about that didn't perform as well as the wallet and sticker.
Okay.
So we just continued to sell the wallet and sticker products on our website through June, and then we launched the TrakR Bravo campaign in June.
Got it. Okay. And so far that one's at 850. So you're pretty much on track to triple more or less the results from the wallet tracker.
Yes. Yeah. So right now I think we're at 897,000 is what I see on the campaign. So
let's hit 900,000 before we get off this interview.
There will be a lot of yelling in the background.
Awesome. That's what I want. I feel like the whole office jumping. I'm just going to go in there and be like, $5,000. Jump. Awesome. Okay. So what do you think is the catalyst, or why is this campaign, let's just use 3 times more successful than the wallet tracker? Ha! Wouldn't you like to know? We're going to pause right here for a minute and we'll carry this on in part 2. So if you want to learn what actually made Christian Smith's TrakR Bravo campaign on Indiegogo so successful, in fact, 3 times more successful, you're going to have to come back and listen to part 2, which I believe will be released on Thursday. So hope you enjoyed part 1 of our interview. Christian, by the way, I find this out later, is only 28 years old. As soon as he told me, my mind was seriously blown. By the time he was 24, he had already raised somewhere in the vicinity of $350,000. Absolutely amazing human being. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, if you want to check us out, you can head over to satoriprime.com, just opt in, and you can get a whole bunch of free information and keep track on all sorts of cool knowledge about marketing, personal development, business, leadership, etc. Till we speak next time on another pep talk, have an amazing day, everyone. We'll talk real soon.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Performance Enhancing Podcast. We've taken this pep talk and created a custom action guide so you know exactly what action steps to take now to grow your business. Just head over to satoriprime.com/podcast and download it for free. Also, please leave a comment and rate this podcast on iTunes. It'll help us get the word out. Thanks for listening. Now, go and implement. We'll see you next time.